I'm not going to bore you with some preamble about what Magic the Gathering is, what commander damage is, or anything like that. You've read the title, you've likely disagreed with it, but all I ask is you hear me out. I want to state personally that I do not like commander damage, nor do I play with it. For some people watching, you'll likely be saying, then why are you complaining if you don't use it? Well, that's because other people I do play with track it. I'm also aware that as much as I'd love to scrap it, that's not possible. So, in my opinion, a change needs to be made to it. Also, I know that the professor just recently made a video on this subject. This wasn't intended to be a response due to me having this idea for about a year now. It's just convenient timing on my part. Now, before we get into my gripes with it and my proposed changes, there's a bunch of common arguments that I see being made in favour of commander damage that I think need to be addressed because, quite frankly, they're not strong at all and do nothing to convince me that it should exist. Argument 1. We need it to take down life gain decks. This one irks me because there already exists so many outs to life gain that using this as an argument for commander damage to me just shows a lack of willingness to use these other options. First off, I like to show you these cards. These Quietus Spike effect cards can solve life gain by halving your opponent's health, knocking them back down into kill range fairly easily. And while creatures of these types are typically mono black, Quietus Spike itself is colourless and so can go in any deck. If someone in your pod is running life gain to the point you can't kill them, just run this, it's a $2 card. This is also not to mention countless cards that can also shut down life gain abilities, such as Red's ability to negate life gain with Giant Cindermaw and Leyline of Punishment. For Rakdos players, we've got Reign of Gore, Blue's ability to counter and bounce any of these life gain enchantments, creatures, or artifacts, Green's ability to go big and wide with also enchantment and artifact removal, and other white abilities such as board wiping and exiling. If you're complaining about life gain but not running these things to negate it, that is quite frankly a skill issue. If you are running these things but just don't draw it, then that's just the nature of these card games. Claiming that you need a specific rule to take down a specific archetype just shows that there is a bias. We do not have rules for other playstyles like this. There's no rule that exists that caps the damage for big, green, stompy 1/1 counter creatures, nor is there a limit to the amount of creatures a go-wide creature token deck can produce, nor there's something that stops Spellslinger decks from casting a certain amount of instants and sorceries a turn. Why is one playstyle nerfed by a rule, but not all the others? This argument also implies a belief that some win combs are just inherently better than others. If someone's whole idea to win is to gain a lot of health, making them unkillable and waiting for everyone else to kill each other, why is this considered bad? To me, it's no more annoying than a Simic Landfall Solitaire deck or an Azorius control deck that shuts you down while doing nothing itself. Yet these playstyles don't have rules to stop them from doing what they do. Of all the arguments for commander damage, this is the strongest one I can think of, but see how many arguments against it can be made? But next up we have argument 2. It's the only way for Voltron to win. No, it isn't. As pointed out before, Quietus Spike on a Voltron would probably kill you before you hit 21 commander damage anyway. Also, Go Wide Voltron is a playstyle which is also incredibly viable that doesn't rely on commander damage. Having a commander like Seguin or Akiri or Nazan and equipments like Bloodstained Battle Axe, Improved Arsenal and Masterwork of Ingenuity, as well as countless artifact copiers such as Sculpting Skill, Mechanized Production, Mirror Maid, Molten Duplication, you don't need commander damage to make equipment-based big creatures win. If you're relying on commander damage to win you a Voltron game, you're not being creative enough with your Voltron deck. But even then, bad matchups just exist. Go wide decks are shut down by propaganda. We don't have rules to help them. Zombie/grave decks are shut down by graveyard exile. We don't have rules to help them. Spellslingers are shut down by hexproof, shroud, and protection. We don't have rules to help them either. This is, once again, a bias, keeping some rules in place because some playstyles are more preferred than others. Voltron is not viable for brackets 4 or 5 in which people are winning in turns 1 to 3. If you're running Voltron at this level, you would already know that there are better, more efficient ways of winning than relying on commander damage. If you're running Voltron in brackets 1 to 3, then people really aren't running the massive life gain infinite combos that require you to need commander damage to win. If the rule exists to help Voltron players, why should it be made to exist in every game which statistically most likely won't be running Voltron? If I'm in a pod where people are running Beckett Brass, High Perfect Morcant, Liv Mizzet and Finn the Fangbearer, why does commander damage need to be tracked? And finally, we get to the worst argument. It's a rule that's been there since the inception of Commander. Firstly, appeal to tradition fallacy. Secondly, rules can and have been changed. Edge of Eternity has made it so that legendary vehicles can now be your commander, and there's an ongoing back and forth on hybrid mana. If these rules can change, why can't we at the very least consider modifying commander damage? Thirdly, we can't keep rules unchanged from 20 years ago in relation to damage. With every new set, we constantly hear people talking about power creep and how it's gotten crazier with every year, but we're still keeping the same amount of commander damage from 20 years ago? It doesn't make sense. Surely if everyone admits that the power level is rising, commander damage should rise too. That's just how basic inflation works. Commander damage was meant to be 3 hits from an Elder Dragon to win, but we live in a time where Emrakul the World Eater, Gyelta and Mavrin, Kozilek the Great Distortion can do 24 damage in 2 hits. Hell, stick a Coldress Complete or a Colossal Dreadmask on Yardle and Multani and they'll do it in 1. To continue on with the whole power creep thing, let me lay out a quick game for you. Turn 1, Forest. Turn 2, Forest, Tifa. Turn 3, scale up, Cabaretti Courtyard, crack that into Forest. Now that's lethal commander damage in turn 3 with trample, just in case someone has the audacity to have a blocker out. Keep in mind this isn't some bracket 4 nonsense going on here. With no game changers, no mass land denial, no extra turn, no 2-card combos, this is bracket 2 or 3 easily. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, you should just kill Tifa before turn 3, congratulations, you're now agreeing with my run removal point from the life gain section, and thus proving it's not a good argument. But that's enough whining from me. As I stated earlier, we cannot remove the rule, so we must change it. Therefore, I come bearing 2 solutions that I think people would be okay with at the very least. Solution 1. Raise the amount of commander damage. Now, I could overcorrect and look at the highest damage legendary creature and say it has to be 3 times their power, but that is too absurd even for me. Being hit 3 times by Yargle and Multani deals more damage than the health you start with. So I propose that if we were to raise the amount, a nice 30 damage would be where I'd feel more comfortable. Being hit 3 times by a Gyalto or an Ur-Dragon or an Ulamog feels more in tune with modern Magic's power level. But personally, of the 2 options, this is one I'd rather not do. To me, there's such a simple change that you could do to commander damage that would still allow for the arguments being made previously for it to exist. Solution 2. Make it 21 damage in a single hit. Someone's got an out of control life gain deck, 21 damage from your commander in 1 hit takes them out. A Voltron deck with Colossus Hammer, Argentum Armor, and an Ogre's Cleaver attached to it can do 21 damage even if their starting power is 0. Though the wording of this rule could be changed to 21 damage in a single combat phase to allow a double strike hit of 11 each to also be considered lethal commander damage. And for those who want to keep the magic 21 number because of historical reasons, we still have it. However, upon hearing that this is my preferred change to commander damage, some of you may be thinking that I'm a hypocrite because I said that Tifa doing it in 1 hit is bad, but to preemptively address that, this example was provided to show how crazy early commander damage can kill, even in low bracket decks, and this is typically my go-to for arguing that commander damage should be removed as opposed to changed. It also isn't hypocritical because if every commander damage kill worked in the same way as my example, I would be fine with it existing because of consistency reasons. As the rules currently exist, if I were to block Tifa with a 0-4 wall and she only does 20 damage to me, she still only has to hit me for 1 next turn to kill, which feels underwhelming and stupid. Making it so it's a single hit is both rewarding for the player who swings in for that damage, and is also a threat check for the defending player, seeing if they have the tools available to take down a lethal threat early game. But with all that said, I know this video isn't going to sit well with a lot of people, so I will ask that if you do disagree and want to leave a comment, please do civilly. Thanks for sticking around and hearing me out. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that people beg for because of algorithm reasons. I still don't know how to end videos. Bye.